peace only once this weekend. You keeping busy, always things to do. Our situation still undecided. None of us knows what we wanna do. It happened last week when I stopped by your place. My hands were shaking when I rang your bell. And out of all the things we thought could happen, we ended up naked in your bed. If you show me this, I'll give you that. Everything we ever wanted, and this for what it's worth, give it a try. And if you say like this, then you know what? But I don't wanna seize the moment. So let's, for what it's worth, give it a try. We can stay up late like if nothing matters. You can hold my hand when no one's around. And I bet that we both are waiting for something. But we can wait until the feeling's gone. If you show me this, I'll give you that. Everything we ever wanted, and this for what it's worth, give it a try. But if we stay like this, then you know
saw you from across the room. When our eyes met, I never knew that I could feel this way. And it's kinda strange, don't even know your name. I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. You say that you're from out of town. I'm hoping that you stick around. Show me what it's like from the other side. Would you stay another night? 'Cause I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I think I've waited all these years for you right here. But how will I ever know if you go? 'Cause I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you.
I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Lay my troubles to rest. Blow the smoke through my cigarette. City lights looking fine, and I know this is my time now. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me. faster car. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me. No, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me. No, no, nothing can break me.